Rach has responded to the conspiracies surrounding the Jay Slater case and her son's, Brad Hargreaves' alleged involvement. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell so you can hang out with me and Miss Gabby in the live chat right here. So Rach's TikTok account responded to a post that said Brad had a black eye during his ITV interview with Isla Tranquer. And this is what Rach had to say, quote, "He had no black eye. It's called lack of sleep. Okay, you know nothing, so why don't you get a life and live it instead of worrying over something you have no clue about? You're embarrassing yourself," end quote. To which this person replies, quote, "Not embarrassing myself at all. Asking a genuine question. Lack of sleep impacts both eyes, love. Now stop deleting comments and make your son speak up. You're disgusting. Truths surfacing. Rest in peace, Jay." End quote. Now that's kind of interesting because a lot of people thought that Brad in this ITV interview had black eyes. Some have actually suggested that he has two black eyes in this ITV interview, which is very interesting because there was allegedly Brad's sunglasses found in the location Jay disappeared at that was missing a lens in the same area as Brad's black eye, which many people thought was a coincidence. It's been rumored that there was a fight at the B&B the night Jay disappeared, which is allegedly the reason Jay's friend Brandon has not shown his face, because there was also apparently marks on his face as well. Yeah, so people in this ITV interview think they can actually see two black eyes in this interview. I can only make out one, but then when he starts turning his face towards the light, I can actually see that there's two black eyes. And it looks almost to me like it's possible that he could be wearing makeup during this interview to hide it. And then we have Jay Slater's own dad, Warren, actually posting a cryptic TikTok. And at one point, he secretly films Brad as they were searching for Jay. And people are looking at this video and seeing that it looks like Brad in this footage has black eyes. I mean, it does look like that to me. I don't know if this is from lack of sleep or what. And interestingly, some sleuths have also suggested that these are the same shoes in the final Snapchat photo of Jay that many people thought was highly suspicious, because why would Jay be filming his feet? Also, originally, the shoes were said to be white, but after this Snapchat was released, they were changed to black. And Wax Unfiltered alleges that these are the same shoes, and combined with these sunglasses also being there, many people think Brad was there the night Jay disappeared. And his friends are covering up for Brad, in particular, Ayub, who keeps slipping up during his live streams and saying that he does, in fact, know Jay's friends. Ayub Qassim, the convicted substance dealer and one of the last people to ever see Jay alive, appears to be covering for a fourth person there the night Jay disappeared.
How was someone already asleep? Well, no, he asked me for the charger, but his mate, well, my mate was sleeping. Rocky, like, I don't even have to say.
Yeah, I was.
You're here now. Like,
well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that face just says he knew he messed up. Ayub, in his original statement given to his friend, said that Jay gave his key to a friend who wanted to go back to their apartment, and that Jay wanted to continue on partying. That's when Jay allegedly insisted on going to the remote B&B with Ayub and Rocky. But who was the other person there? Was the key really just an alibi or a cover-up between Brad and Ayub? Because the key story makes absolutely no sense when Jay was allegedly just staying at a hotel close to the energy rave and could easily just have asked the staff or his friends to let him in. If Jay wanted to continue on partying, why would he travel to this remote B&B?
I know he's boys in that, innit? That I know from Tenerife for a while, so we just all partying together. And then we're sitting there with all the boys and that. Then his other mate stood up and said, "Oh, let me get the key to the apartment. I'm going now." He wanted to carry on partying, innit? And then he's like, bro, he goes, I ain't got nowhere to stay, bro. Like, in Tramps, that Park Club, he said, I ain't got nowhere to stay. Can I come yours? I was like, my place is a bit far away, though, bro. Like, it's by the mountains and that. He was like, no, I don't mind. I was like, cool. And then I was like, I'll get you a pillow and a blanket. You can have the sofa. So we was driving all the way back to mine.
What I find most troubling is how much Brad and Rach's stories just don't add up. So Brad's mom, Rach, made these statements very early on in the case.
They've been to this festival and then they've ended up, my son said he wants to go back to the apartment. Jay had other ideas of going with these other lads, which they knew, which were fine. Brad tried to say, well, come back. Come home with me. I don't really want to go back on my own. But Brad wanted to go back, so he's gone back. And he said, listen, you ring me, Jay, when you get there, and you stay in contact with me, which he did do. Brad told him to put his phone on charge, and he said he was going to get some kip. It was the last message to him, going to get some kip, and then I'll ring and get a taxi in the morning. So Brad's not been asleep, my son.
So Rach said Brad wanted to get some kip, also known as sleep, but then Brad in his ITV interview said he had just come out of a festival himself. So there's two very different stories that Brad and Rach are telling, in my opinion.
Not at the time, no, because we were both like laughing about it. He said, look where I am. Like, I just come out of a festival myself.
According to Rach herself, Brad was going to call Jay a taxi in the morning, which begs the question, why didn't Brad do that? A taxi was never called. Instead, the friend's behaviors afterwards was very unsettling. Lucy immediately reported Jay missing, despite her being under the impression he was on an 11-hour hike back home. But probably the most troubling thing about this case is that no record of this alleged Snapchat call with Jay exists. When Snapchat does log your calls, Lucy also said the same thing about her call logs, that she deleted all her calls with Jay. Brad's timelines just don't add up either. Brad said Jay called him at 8:30 a.m., but Jay was cited by Ophelia right here at 8:15 a.m., a kilometer away from the B&B. So logically, there is absolutely no way Jay would have been in a ravine, as Brad stated, at 8:30 a.m., judging by just Google Maps. He would have still been on the road because it is a 38-minute walk to his last phone ping. So these final moments, coupled with the friend's call logs, are crucial in understanding what happened to Jay. And at one time, Brad actually came out and confirmed that there was a fourth person there that night Jay disappeared. He clarified on Facebook that isn't Tom Hilton sitting with Ayub. It is Sonny Wilson, the guy whose stepdad is a substance dealer. And Sonny Wilson's stepdad is Lee Taberer, who has a history of taking people's family members and demanding money. So was there four people there? Because at one time, Luggy and Chris Tenerife slipped up and said that four people carried Jay to his final location. Brad's mom, Rachel, also sent these messages saying that Lucy needs to hurry up and transfer the GoFundMe money to pay, then Jay can come home. And then Bobs and Bits alleged that the private searchers, who just so happened to find Jay a week after the official search was called off, which was a red flag in and of itself, turns out that Brad's mom was, quote, in a relationship with Chris Tenerife, one of the private searchers, few years ago. Then Rachel in a live stream admitted that she also knows Luggy, the other private searcher who happened to stumble upon Jay. And then in Warren's cryptic TikTok video, we can see that Rach was there during the search, watching over the search like a hawk. And some have suggested throughout this case that Rach was controlling Debbie and leading her away from the truth. And as the case progressed, we find out that Brad and Lucy have a friendship with Jay Slater's arch nemesis, Tom Hilton. So many people feel that potentially Brad set up Jay in Tenerife to get the ultimate revenge. The sleuths aren't convinced by Rach's clapback, writing, "She doesn't have an ounce of compassion for Jay and his family. It's all my sweet little Brad, who let his so-called best friend down. Yeah, that's something I noticed with Rach. During the search for Jay, Rach kept posting photos on her TikTok of her son Brad, which was kind of insensitive to Debbie, who had just lost her son. One sleuth writes, just to confirm, I was a raver for many years, never had dark eyes. Another writes, always there to fend for her son. What about that poor lad that's lost his life because she was good at blocking everyone with the home truths? So what do you guys think about Rach's clapback? Do you agree? Is it just lack of sleep? Or do you think Rach really knows more and is just not telling us and could hold the truth and, more importantly, prevent this from happening to somebody else? Because on this one small island, there's over 80 missing people, and I think another body just turned up in the ravine, similar to Jay, this past weekend. So, justice for Jay. Bye, guys. I love you, and let's roll the outro.